executives, it's your coach, Asia Rivers. Let's take a look at handling small business debt. Businesses, like individuals, sometimes suffer from too much debt. Taking on the right amount of debt and at the right time can mean the difference between a business that struggles and one that succeeds. According to the U.S. Small Business Administration, roughly 50% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years, largely because of insufficient capital, poor credit arrangements, and too much debt. For most businesses, borrowing makes sense when it's necessary to bolster cash flow or finance growth or expansion. Yet, due to the Great Recession, the last few years have been particularly difficult for small businesses that overextended themselves by borrowing too much money without the capacity to make back what they owe. Would some of these companies have been better to avoid the debt by making sounder borrowing decisions early on? Maybe. Nonetheless, once creditors are at the door, it's too late to perform a financial analysis. In these cases, a small business owner has two ways to deal with the debt: try to save the business while attempting to settle outstanding accounts, or allow the business to fail, but with an exit strategy that minimizes the financial consequences. If you decide to save the business, obviously, the first option is trying to save the business while managing its debt, while taking money out of your own pocket and putting it into your business. This is a huge risk. Probably has failed many times as it has succeeded, and should only be done if you can justify it as a short-term means that promises the likelihood of a long-term payoff. Tips when doing this or going this route includes cutting costs. If you cannot bail out your business with private funds, you need to identify areas where you can reduce costs. Do not shrink your workforce. It's not an attractive option. Contact your customers and suppliers. Stay connected with your customers and seek out ways to increase your exposure and or improve your business model and your revenue. Offer your best customers markdowns if they can pay you quicker. You should also contact your suppliers to arrange discounts and or deferred payments. Contact your creditors. Contact every creditor and advise them of your situation. Ignoring the lenders can only make matters worse. While tackling the debt, the problem is easier when you act early. Option 2, allow the business to fail. Do not let your pride get in the way. Remember, if you have personally guaranteed a business debt, many lenders require that a small business owner take on a personal responsibility for loans or lines of credit. You will still be liable for those obligations unless freed by your creditors. Some things to consider when allowing the business to fail is the remaining debt. If you cannot pay, bankruptcy is always an option. This is the reason to establish business credit. Now, jumping right back in, so testimony time. So, I started my first business back in 2014. New business owner, no experience, none with business, and not even none in the industry that I worked in. So I was at a disadvantage. Push come to shove, I borrowed a lot of money to get my business up off the ground. Most of it was community funds, grants, and it still was not enough. And so I began to research business credit and how it would be effective into my business. And so, I came to think, why aren't any owners or entrepreneurs exploring this route? Because it is an option in order to get your business in a position of growth. And so as I began to search the market, only seeing large companies that was instructing really teaching about business credit, and it was really on the surface level. It's not mainstream, so many people don't know that it's an option. And so I began to track my methods, write things down. When I received denial letters, I followed up on them, and I began to develop a system for business credit. This is something that wasn't on the market and available to me, so I decided to give back to the people. So that's exactly how business credit and seal the deal began, but again, it hasn't it wasn't targeted to a mainstream audience. It was targeted to childcare because that's where I thought that my market was. However, it I began to realize that it was much larger than that. So with that being said, business credit is used as a way of protection for the business owner. And so when you have a lot of debt, what business credit does is takes that personal guarantee away. It takes the having to pledge collateral. It takes having to put down, utilize your personal credit. And so, again, it provides that layer of protection. So, business owners need to invest in the business credit course because it gives so much information that's vital to your success, your business success. And again, most of this information is valued at over $2,500. I had purchased, one time before from a large corporation about business credit, and I didn't take anything away from the course other than the fact that there were companies that were targeting smaller businesses and telling them, hey, this is what you do, without really showing them the way. So my model is to give a hand to my business owners and entrepreneurs and really give you the information that's needed so you can build it, utilize it, and use it as a measure of protection. But when handling business debt in regards to business credit, it gives you some protection so you don't have to file that Chapter 7 bankruptcy. If you have the money, to file business bankruptcy, that's also an option as well. However, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA, so therefore everybody's situation is unique. It's different. However, going into that, you need to still establish business credit for many debts as possible to avoid the inevitable if you should get into some type of legal trouble, or you have a project that didn't go so well, because my project was expanding to another location, and within 45 days I had lost over $80,000. I was in debt an additional $60,000 to the IRS, and so I had to figure a way out of that, and the way out of that was going to seek out another location and put myself in a position of ownership so that I required an asset to leverage later on. So I had a hard 2 years of buckling down. We really had to get on a strict budget at home. I had to put my business on a strict budget, and the employees, because I was in the predicament of not having providing jobs for my employees that I had, and I valued them. I did not just want to walk away from that. So it's a hard thing dealing with business debt. However, if you get a system in place of taking payments from your customers on a regular basis, doing your marketing, your branding, following those systems that can be put into play by any coach that can teach you those systems, but there are still business fundamentals that you must follow in order to be successful. So yes, establish business credit as soon as possible, and you will not regret it. You guys have a wonderful day, and join us later at Seal the Deal on YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned to my videos. Follow me on Facebook at during our Money Mondays, and then on Saturdays it's Family and Friends Day, where I teach budgeting tips. So stay tuned, guys. Have a great day.